This is,
Speaking of the podcast,
Speaking of one bear in,
it's a new year, and going forward in the new year, since we like to talk about gaming a lot.
yeah,
Dave, you found a list.
yeah, Polygon, gaming website, put out a list of 100 most anticipated games of 2015. I forwarded that to you guys,
yes.
and you both checked it out, right?
That we did.
What
You both
list?
checked it out.
Oh.
I did. I skimmed. No, there was a lot of really
There were the
really obvious choices, and then
there were the AAA titles,
Right. Yep.
But then they had a few underliers.
right.
You guys looked at it.
We did.
Yep.
Well, I did. I can't speak for us, but
I looked at it. So let's start from games that are interesting to games that you really want to play.
Okay.
okay. Adrift is a game that I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was actually going to open up with that too. I think it's nice that they are they took the first person experience, and this game's going to have VR support. So Oculus is going to work on it. Maybe PlayStation's Morpheus if that comes out by then.
yeah.
But I like that they took the first person experience, or first, that's exactly what it is, first person experience, and they made games out of it. So now it's not a first person shooter. It's you.
Drift.
Yeah. Well, basically, the
space.
game is exactly that.
Experience.
You're just didn't need to get that close. You're you're just just
Sandra
adrift
Bullock.
in space. Yeah.
You're Sandra Bullock in Gravity.
No, but it's more than that, because it's not just you drifting in space. You're on a space station, and from what I've seen, there's vegetation growing in the space station, and just the juxtaposition of space and plant life. It's not something anybody's really ever done.
Yeah.
Or, it's not plausible at all, but it's very pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the teaser that was out that I saw was somebody gasping for air and then just floating around the broken space station to grab an air canister as things are blowing up,
Yeah.
and her just drifting in space. So it looks really cool. It's probably going to be really intense. I'm glad it's not another survival horror game
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
that's first person, because I feel like we kind of have hit the threshold with those. I'm glad. I mean, as much as I hate the FPX as they call it, just as a name,
Yeah.
sounds kind of stupid.
Kind of lame.
I appreciate that though, because they're messing with the most popular genre of video games. So
Yeah.
that's always interesting when they toy with, they just tweak it a little bit to make it just that little
Yeah,
bit
it's not
different.
going to be very combat heavy.
Right. I mean, I don't think they're just going to be really combat at all. I think they mentioned there's not going to be any guns. These are from former, I think, Call of Duty devs. So they had a list of things that is not going to be in this game. So yeah, it should be really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Of course, we're going to have our Call of Duties, Assassin's Creed,
yeah, all the major players.
Battlefield.
Yeah, Hardline.
Yeah.
Ooh, I have one that's interesting on the
Yeah.
interesting list.
Go ahead.
Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Really?
Yeah.
I skipped over that one.
Okay. Well,
Elaborate.
I read it just because the title looked interesting. So
yeah. It's a game by the people that made Dear Esther. If you guys remember that.
no.
I have that game.
Yeah, no, I played it at your place. Which is basically just like an exploration
Yeah.
puzzle-ish game.
You just walk around.
Yeah, it's one of those. But apparently, this one is set after the Rapture, which is when everybody either gets sent to heaven or just stays on Earth. So you're in a major city, I think somewhere in Europe. In England in particular. And it's after the apocalypse, but it's not the kind of apocalypse that is like zombie apocalypse or the devil's out or whatever. It's more of just like desolation. Nobody's around. I'm thinking like the beginning of
I
28
Am Legend.
Well, yeah, that too. I was gonna say 28 Days Later too.
Well, you said no zombies.
No zombies, but he wakes up and there's just nothing. It's completely empty.
Okay.
So I think that has a lot of opportunity to be really creepy, but not in the same way that like a jump scare game would be.
Yeah.
And it's also apparently going to be a lot more puzzle heavy than Dear Esther was too, which is something I'm looking forward to, because I feel like Dear Esther, as good as it felt, was just a little bit not game enough for me. Like you wander a lot,
Yeah, it was a lot of wandering until you
Right.
find something.
Yeah.
but when you find something, it's really cool. So I feel like if they just tweak that sort of genre a bit and make it a little bit more game heavy, a little more gameplay heavy, then they have something special there. And it's coming out on PS4 as
Yeah.
well, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited to see what they do with that.
Interesting game that you thought, Dave.
It's called Battleborn
Battleborn. Mm-hmm.
from Gearbox, same people that made Borderlands 2. I'm interested in it because it looks like pretty much just Destiny meets Borderlands. It's very stylized. There's not many games that look like it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is the online multiplayer game. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool.
Yeah. But then the one thing that bothers me is that it just looks like a reskinned Borderlands.
Mm.
But there's a bunch of different gameplay elements. Like you go on one big mission, and of course it's from Gearbox, so the writing's great.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw the gameplay. Did you watch the gameplay video?
No.
But it's pretty cool. They have like an NPC character that on the floor, like on the mission, interrogating someone, and she's trying to get codes to a computer, and you can hear the guy like on the comm, who has the codes to the computer, talking. She's like in initiating decryption, and you just hear her hitting him, and he's like, "This isn't what decrypting is." And it's pretty funny. It's very light.
Yeah.
It doesn't take itself serious at all.
That's
it seems
good.
funny, but
Yeah.
it looks really nice too, though.
I feel like we need that in first-person shooters in particular.
Yeah, like people, they take themselves too serious, but when someone comes along and breaks that monotony and makes jokes out of cliches.
Well, that's why Borderlands is so good. Well, that's
Exactly.
one of the reasons it's so
Yeah,
good.
Yeah,
for sure. Personally, I mean, you guys probably aren't going to be into this one, but Persona 5
Oh
is
yeah,
coming
I
out.
flew right by that. I knew you were going to be excited about that.
Yeah,
I
of
saw that
course.
on the list, and I said,
but
"Yeah, he's going to talk about
have
that."
you even played Persona 4?
Yeah, I have it on the
Is
Vita.
that's the one you play on the Vita?
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah, Persona 4 Golden is on the Vita. They remastered Persona 4, which was a PS2 game originally, for the Vita, and it's really pretty on the Vita. But you saw, David, I was still playing Persona 3
Yeah.
also, which I'm just beating the very last boss still.
It doesn't make sense. I don't understand how you overlap games like that.
Yeah, how could you skip?
I didn't mean to, but the fact that I knew Persona 4 was going to be what Persona 3 was, but better mechanically, got me interested, and that got me to buy it instantly.
All right.
Yeah, because I got into Persona 3 really late, and I loved the crap out of it. It was like a slow burn. I finally got into it after like a few months of playing, and then I couldn't stop. So I feel like the same thing's going to happen to me with 4 when I finally get deeply into it, because I've already started playing it, and then 5 eventually. I'm really excited to see what they do on new gen systems,
Right.
Nah.
because it's always interesting because they always change the system up a little bit. So, but that's just me. Because
Is that your top pick for what you're looking forward to?
No, sir. That's more of like just a personal, bigger pick for me.
Yeah, just like an interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
What
Yeah,
about
I call it another interesting pick.
What about like a surprising pick, maybe something that you wouldn't expect to be interested in, but you are. Something that's just caught your eye. Anything?
Let me go through the list real quick.
I bring it up
Do you
because
have
I have
something?
one.
You
Yeah,
got
of
one?
course,
Go
of
ahead.
course. That's where I bring it up.
Well, then do it, Marco.
Legend of Zelda. Because I mean, it's not obvious to.
How's that interesting?
Yeah, you need to.
It's not interesting to the outside audience, but it's interesting to people who know me, you two,
Careful.
because I'm
careful.
not. What?
Careful. We might lose a demograph.
No. I'm just. What I mean, I've never been a huge. Not to say that I'm not a fan of Zelda,
Okay.
but that I just I didn't play the Zelda games that much.
Marco, tread lightly.
You can't say things like that, man.
Yeah.
I know, I get it.
From our generation,
This
you
is
you
why-
haven't played Zelda much.
This is why I'm bringing it up. Well, okay, but I never actually owned a Nintendo ever. Not
That's your
one
problem right
Nintendo
there.
console.
You were a Sega kid, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry.
believe me, I sleep good at night. So I was never.
I got no idea.
Nope.
I never had a lot
baby.
of experience with the Zelda games.
Yeah. Didn't you say you played Link's Awakening though?
I've played all of them, but I never really played them. You know, I just had a chance to like,
So
mess around
just
with them.
like jump into a Zelda game just for like a, a
Yeah,
session.
just to check it out.
You think you can just jump into a Zelda game?
I think I can do whatever the hell I want. God damn it!
That's where you're wrong, son.
Look, I get it. All right, it's not the reason I brought it up. It's to be bashed again.
Yeah.
For not playing Zelda.
That's all right. We'll get you this round.
It looks very pretty.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. I think.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot of information out. Just the thing they did on the Video Game Awards, I think it was.
Yeah.
Um,
Just the fact that on the Wii U, like it's going to be an open world game, and I just love the fact that they're just calling it Legend of Zelda, just kind of like,
I think that's just a working title.
well,
Yeah, it's still really early off right now.
I was excited about that, but it doesn't matter. It's an open world Zelda game, which looks interesting to me.
Yeah.
Harkens back to the original
Yeah.
Zelda games, which were basically open world games. You just ran around.
Find
I
a
mean,
dungeon.
obviously there was the goal.
Yeah, and
But-
I mean, there is an order in which is best to find the dungeons because some are
Yeah.
harder than others. but
Right.
You could technically go wherever you wanted,
Yeah.
basically, for the most part. I mean, you need certain
No.
tools to blow up like walls.
Yeah, there was no way you could advance without getting something prior to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was an order you had to do it.
and they became more linear the further you went on too.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even though Ocarina of Time was open,
yeah,
kind of.
as much as they could at the time, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter.
What?
You're talking about stuff doesn't matter.
okay.
It just looks interesting to me.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'd
I'm
say,
definitely gonna get it.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing that they could do is learn from Western developers. Learn from Skyrim. Learn from
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto. Just learn to make the world feel really alive because Zelda games honestly don't feel alive. The worlds don't feel habitated.
Yeah, I mean, Ocarina of Time was like ahead of its time
Mhm.
because of what it was. But you're right, it didn't feel like Grand Theft Auto feels.
No,
You couldn't have endless fun in it.
not at all. People were there for a reason, and that's it. Like there weren't NPCs there just living.
Anyway, so a game now that you're good,
Super hot.
super. I don't
Super
think-
hot fire. No, it's a first-person shooter in which the bullets only move when your character moves.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting mechanic.
So I'm not sure if there's a tech demo out right now that I need to look for, but it seems like kind of a twist on first-person shooters, because usually you don't have to plan like that.
Yeah.
You just shoot, and if you get a headshot, you get a headshot. If not, then you don't. But you'd have to now plan your moves out depending on how an enemy reacts.
Right.
Adam.
That's kind of tough for me, man. I feel like I kind of said mine already, though.
Persona.
No, with the everybody's gone to the Rapture.
Well, that was just the interesting game that you thought. Well, okay, if that's your choice of like the top game you're looking forward to.
No. I'd say that's my sort of dark horse, and then
Okay.
my interesting one would be Persona.
Okay.
Can we jump into our like top?
Can we say it at the same time?
I don't think it's gonna be the same.
Hyper
Gear
Light
Solid.
Drifter.
Well, there you go, folks.
Metal Gear Solid?
Oh yeah.
Of course. That's
Phantom Pain, man. I'm so ready for that game.
yeah, duh. I thought that went without saying.
Crap, I'm so ready for that game.
I said Evolve, so.
Yeah, that goes without saying. You guys didn't go through this list. You just picked your number one favorite.
No, I went
No.
through the list. I definitely went through the list.
Yeah, I looked through. I'd say that's my top, especially bigger game that's coming out.
Yeah, well, okay, maybe I should have maybe clarified.
You said Hyper Light Drifter, though, right?
I did say Hyper Light Drifter
I agree with you on that
because
as well.
that is an awesome looking game.
Yep.
It's from well, actually, one of the guys who made Samurai Gun is working on it.
Yeah, I wanted to give that one a shout out because I'm also super excited for that one too.
Yep.
Um,
Also, honorable mentions to Below.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
team that made Super Time Force.
that looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Hotline Miami 2,
Of course. Yeah, duh.
There's all the obvious choices. We've talked about No Man's Sky ad nauseum at this point.
Yeah.
We're just really excited about it. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be good. I think they're kind of I wouldn't say zombie games have jumped the shark yet. They are beating them into the ground at this point.
Dead Island 2?
What?
Dead Island
Dead
2?
Island 2, I think. I'm not that excited about that, only because Human Element and Dying Light both kind of look better.
Dying Light looks much better. in
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
opinion.
I haven't seen anything other than a trailer for
Dying
Dead
Light?
Dead Island 2.
Yeah.
Because Dead Island 1 it had a sequel, but it wasn't a true sequel. It was
Yeah.
like
Right.
it could have been an expansion, but it was on the same engine, the same
It was
platform.
basically just DLC.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a true sequel. So this is an actual true sequel.
Yeah.
Dead Island 1 and 1.5 kind of sucked. I was
Yeah.
not a fan of it.
It was
They were
very
alright.
buggy. Very, very buggy.
It was
Yeah.
it was buggy.
It was loose. It was wonky.
It was fun when you had someone with you, but if you're by yourself, it was just kind of like the moves are kind of all over the place. It just the awareness of the game wasn't very good, and just it was a lot of little problems, subtle problems with the
And
game.
I think it needed more time.
Yeah. And the
Hopefully.
missions, I mean, they're just kind of like get to point A, now get back to point B. Mission
Yeah.
over. Like
Yeah.
that was really it with a lot of the missions.
So we'll see if that team's up to snuff for like a true sequel.
I'm excited about Human Element, Dying Light, and H1Z1. Those are 3 big zombie games that are coming out.
Right.
I want a game like State of Decay, but better.
Yeah.
I want honestly, if State of Decay could like in their next game just be better, I would buy that first day.
Just refine
because
it.
State of Decay was so much fun, but there was just little things where it was just like, how is this not a multiplayer
Yeah.
game?
Yeah, if State of Decay, okay, the way you're thinking of State of Decay should be is how Don't Starve Together is.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, that
Makes
sounds
sense.
awesome.
Yeah.
But obviously Don't Starve Together is a completely different type of
Right.
game.
But the mechanic itself.
Right. If those were put into State of Decay, it
Yeah.
would be a hit.
Because Adam, you never actually played it, right?
I played it, but I only got like the demo in basically.
You didn't actually play it then. There's so much to it at that point.
Yeah, you really have to invest in a character.
Yeah,
Not
you
that
really
they're-
gotta-
But once that character dies, you have other characters to play as, but they're
you
not
feel
as,
that loss.
They're not
Because
as
it's a true death.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's rare in gaming nowadays.
Right.
That fully leveled up character is gone forever.
That's it. That's it. Game's over.
cool.
Like,
That's
can
it.
you? I mean, can you imagine an RPG where you level this guy up to like level 30, and then if you make one mistake, he dies, and then
Yeah.
that's it. Game's over.
It's
Like
a-
you have to start over.
It's a very brave mechanic.
It is. I thought it was. There was a lot of things that they did with it and the story kind of progressed by itself as you move throughout this destroyed city. Like things would happen, and then that is what would progress the story. And you're like, okay, well now we're going in this direction with the
Right.
story mode. And then there, you didn't even have to do that. Like you could just never visit that part of town
And just
and
survive.
just maintain in this
Right.
area, and you could do that until you got overrun, I guess.
You find the barn to just buckle down.
Yeah, I mean there was a lot to it, and I'm hoping that the games like H1Z1, Dying Light, Human Element, they kind of
Yeah.
take those things and they run with them.
Yeah, we'll see.
Do you have any other honorable mentions?
Obviously, Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super excited for that.
Yeah.
Until Dawn, I'm really interested to see how that turns out. The horror game coming to PS4.
Yeah.
I think I heard that Way of the Samurai 4 is coming out.
Oh man, I would love a new Way of the Samurai. Oh,
I
such
got
a
on that
good
because
game.
of you.
It's a great game, just a great game.
Just
Yeah.
everything you do.
Yeah, there's consequences to everything. You make choices, real choices.
Yeah.
It's man, such a great game. So yeah, if they're doing that, I would love that.
Project Cars.
Yeah.
I don't think I looked at that.
Yeah.
It's a racing game.
Well, which is why I didn't
Yeah,
look at
that's
it.
why he didn't look at it. But it's super hyper realistic graphics. Like I showed Adam a picture of a Ferrari 360 real life and a Ferrari 360 rendered in the game, and he's just looking at me like, "What?" And I was like, "One of them is not real."
It feels like they're getting better and better at that. Like every iteration of a car game, it just feels like it's just
Yeah.
more realistic.
They always use that to showcase the graphics of any console.
Right.
For all time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a pretty good point. Like any launch.
Mm-hmm.
They're just
Has
like,
a
look
car
how pretty
game.
this car is.
Well, I think it's because there's not much like graphical demand on anything in that game because it's just a set track.
Yeah.
Right.
You got a camera, and then you have to have the models of the car, and they can be as detailed as they want to be with it because that's where all the processing power goes to.
Yeah,
Just the
vast
cars.
majority of it's
Yeah.
in the car itself. But yeah, I mean, I just whenever I'm looking, because is that game going to be more of like an arcadey game, or is it going to be more of a simulation,
It's a good question.
or maybe in the middle like Forza?
I'd like Forza.
I like Forza too. The only thing is, if it is more of a simulation game, I'm just going to wait until Gran Turismo. Frankly, that's how it's always been for me.
Yeah.
I really don't mess with any other racing sim other than Gran Turismo.
I'm gonna go ahead and say The Order, 1886.
Also interesting, yeah.
Yes,
is gonna
of
fall
course.
on its face.
Oh,
That's a good
well,
question.
Yeah,
I think it's not gonna be that great. I think it's gonna be okay.
yeah. Well, I think at worst it's going to be really pretty. That's pretty much it. Because nothing I've seen in there is like really gameplay-wise innovative.
Yeah.
It's very much a third-person shooter, in vein of like Gears of War. So I think that maybe somebody's just trying to make their own Gears of War at this point. But
Yeah.
I mean, it looks really pretty. But if they don't do anything interesting gameplay-wise, add some kind of mechanic we're not seeing quite yet, yeah, it might be kind of run-of-the-mill.
Yeah.
Are mediocre at best. But we'll see. I'm kind of hopeful for it still.
Yeah.
Mighty Number 9 looks like Mega Man.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
it's
I'm
always
okay
good.
with that.
Yeah. The Witcher 3.
Yeah. Even though I'm not beat 2,
The Witcher 2 is hard as balls.
I don't want to play 1
No.
because it's horrible.
A lot of people are going to hate you for that.
Bloodborne.
It's just not for me.
Bloodborne. Bloodborne.
Bloodborne looks good.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. Are you guys ready for Bloodborne?
I think so.
I think.
I think it's accessible enough for us. We're probably going to get mad at it still, but
I played Dark Souls,
yeah.
so
I know.
I
You
died
hated it.
often.
I know.
No, I liked it. It was fun. It was just it was hard. It was hard as hell.
It's
point.
It's not hard. It's unforgiving.
Yeah.
I think that falls under the definition of a hard video
No,
game.
because you fight a boss, you learn its moves, and then you run the pattern. But you make one mistake, one mistime. That's it.
I didn't see Kingdom Hearts 3 on the list.
It's not coming out next year.
That's why I didn't see Kingdom Hearts 3 on the list.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
That's probably coming out
That makes me sad.
maybe early 2017.
Ah, Jesus, don't say stuff like that.
I'm sorry. They're very early in
I mean,
production
what
on
is
that.
the point? Why is it taking so long?
I mean, they announced it too early. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Little fanboy.
Well, okay.
Come on, Vicky.
Why is it taking so long?
The first one came out. I forgot what year the first one
Look at
came
all
out.
these Marvel movies.
The second one came out like 2 years later, and it was better. So it's not like I just don't understand. Like I hope that when it comes out, that there's something that was worth the time that we're waiting on it.
Can we hope for the Guardian?
What's the Guardian?
Ico, Shadow of the Colossus creator, new game with a dog bird thing with feathers.
That sounds cool.
Isn't that? No, that's Last Guardian, I think. Isn't it?
Something Guardian. Last Guardian?
I think it's Last Guardian.
Fact check me.
Yeah, I'm fact checking you.
You know about this?
Nope.
No, you know about it. You've seen it. You've seen the tech or the demo,
Maybe.
the
Yeah.
gameplay.
Don't recall.
Yeah, the game's called Last Guardian.
But it's been in production for so damn long. I don't blame you for forgetting.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out on PS3 long ago.
Yeah.
They missed an entire console generation making this game.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
So, as far as hope, PlayStation officials say that it's still in development and they're still working on it.
I mean, but you know what? It's kind of like what we were saying before with all these buggy ass games that came out last year. If you just waited, people are still gonna buy the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I complain now about Kingdom Hearts 3, but you know that I'm gonna buy it first day when it comes out. Doesn't matter if
Right.
it comes out tomorrow or if it comes out 3 years from now. I'm gonna be upset.
Yeah.
But I'm still gonna get it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the question is the legacy of Shadow of the Colossus and Ico so strong that it can, go for 5 years?
I don't think so. I think that game's gonna have to stand on its own too.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think people are gonna
Yeah.
go, oh, it was these guys. Remember that game?
I mean, only people really
No.
in the know would understand that anyway. You know, so unless it just ends up becoming this really beautiful, really innovative game like Eco and Shadow of the Colossus were,
Which it could.
it
Yeah,
could, it very well
definitely.
could be, because
it's taking this goddamn long.
yeah, I think there had to have been some kind of problem with, you know,
How much innovation the console could handle.
Right.
I guess that's the best case scenario.
That's what it is.
But
It's very innovative. It needs to have next gen
yeah.
innovation material.
So they were recently, I think, online somewhere saying that they're going in a new direction with it, which a lot of people just assumed meant that they're putting it on PS4.
Neat.
So
Well, suffice to say, there are a lot of games coming out this year that we are excited for.
Thank God.
Which is, I mean, that's a good thing for gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good thing for the consoles because the year before and this year,
This year sucked.
they've been kind of weak. Yeah. So with I mean, I think if every game that had come out was not filled with bugs and awful, then we probably would have had a better year. But there are a lot of games that have the potential to be excellent. We didn't even mention Arkham Knight, which is supposed to come out next
Right.
year.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a good thing for gaming. That's a good thing for gaming culture. That's a good thing for the consoles, and it's a good thing for the consumer. So
Yeah.
and us, because we can talk about them.
can't beat it.
Yep.